my talk. The talk you took away when I was a little girl at Shubenacadie School.
En toen ik het lezen deed. Het lezen deed, dan is je geladen weer hoor. Every day je weer en ze beginnen eigenlijk nu je naam ook gewoon.
Alan Syliboy from Nova Scotia. Alan was born in Truro, Nova Scotia, and grew up living in the Millbrook First Nations community. In 1971, Alan studied privately with artist-activist Shirley Bear. He then joined the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. Alan brings together music and art with his band, the Thundermakers. It is our pleasure and honor to welcome Alan Syliboy today to Moccasin Tracks. Welcome, Alan.
Yeah, so the symphony went really well, and that will be available on YouTube coming up in a month or so, and then everyone can see it on YouTube. And
oh, great!
And the one from last year is also available. You can see the Nova Scotia Symphony Fusion program, and it has the Thundermakers on there, so you can also see that. So it's a kind of a permanent thing that you can always watch.
Can you tell our listeners what instruments your band will be using?
Well, we fluctuate in size. We can get down to maybe even 3 members or 4, sometimes even 2, but we like to get up there in the 6 or 7, sometimes 8 members. And we have guests as well. We have violin players or fiddlers as well, come in, and we also have different singers. So we do a mix of traditional music. Like with the symphony, we did a piece that was an ancient Mi'kmaq song. It's a Wayland song, and it was very, very old, and it's never really been heard before. So we performed that, and a new Wales song that Hubert Francis wrote, and the 2 went together. Then we also have we put in the middle of those 2 Wales songs a Scottish Wayland song called a Farewell to Taiwati. And so the 3 of them went together, and then we had some film animation. We combined our animation with the Cousteau Foundation sent us some whale footage that we used and incorporated that with the symphony. So all of that together, we like to perform with a big screen behind us and my artwork, and is part of the whole package.
Your artwork is just simply amazing. I love it. And for our listeners, Alan does what's called the daily drum. He paints his work on drums, and I wish you could see them because they're just absolutely beautiful. And Alan's drawings are magical and cosmic, and his work is everywhere. And even children recognize him in the street.
Yeah, children's books, and yeah, they're very keen to ask some questions if they see me. They recognize me, and about my creative process, like somebody from grade 2, and I said, wow, I don't think I was capable of that when I was in grade 2. That's amazing. Kids are very, very aware these days, because of internet and everything else, all the information that's, they're fed every day, you know.
Well, you certainly are keeping the Mi'kmaq culture alive, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, that's what I feel. You know, I feel that there's medicine in the culture, and the more that we get into our own culture and make sure that we realize ourselves, we know who we are, and we look for our culture, and it'll save us. It'll heal us.
It's beautiful. Can you talk a little bit about some of your favorite symbols or representation to paint, and how you work with that?
Petroglyphs were first, well, way back in 1970 when I was when Shirley Bear and I met. She was an artist. She was just an established artist already, a Malasite artist, and she gave me my first painting lesson. And I did an art program with her. It was in 1970, and it was funded by AIM, actually. And so the idea was to get to teach indigenous people to do art, and then to go out in the field and teach indigenous communities. So we were kind of leading edge, really, in 1970. We were going to different reserves, and we went to one in Maine, Sabaik, Pleasant Point. We did a workshop there in 1970, and all over the Maritimes, and PEI and Cape Breton and New Brunswick, of course. So we spent, that was a program that, was very leading edge for its time, but it really started me off in my art career, because it really opened up the world to me. You know, I was from a little reserve and in Nova Scotia, and then all of a sudden, I'm in New Hampshire, and learning from all these incredible artists, and seeing great art and being taught. So, my horizons have always been big ever since then. The world was a small place. I couldn't, the horizon wasn't very big, but now the horizon is all over the world, and it really helped me.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I see the pictures that you post, Alan, of the Daily Drum, different folks buying it from you, and they're all so pleased. They're sitting there with big grins holding these wonderful drums.
But yeah, I like the personal contact, to go deliver, and we meet up at Tim Hortons, and bring out the drum, and it's fantastic. I really like that part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that might even empower people a little bit to continue to learn their culture and learn the songs, and then be able to share them with having such a beautiful drum to be inspired with. And do you find that people then take to drumming more after they get their special drums?
Oh, I think so. I think absolutely. A lot of the times they become art on the wall, but they they're they can be used. They're meant to be used. So I encourage that as much. Get out there and join a drum group and use it. But no, drums are a messenger, and that's what I use it for. So send a message out there. So every daily drum, you have a little message, a little teaching that goes with it. So that helps get knowledge out there, and make people more aware of who we are, and so it's a very positive thing.
I'm sorry, Deb. I had read, Alan, that a few artists that you had you kind of admired was Miro, Clay, and Kandinsky, but that you pretty much invest in your own style. That you can admire those artists, but you do your own thing.
Yeah, I think we transition every now and then. We come to we meet each other. I see them, and I like work of other artists. I'm inspired by them. But I try not to be too influenced by them. This is I work in isolation, and so I try to make my own path, basically. And that's I find that very satisfying. So that's the idea. But I mean, I love art, and I love to see other artists, and they inspire me.
Yeah.
Another word I would use to describe your art is joyful. When I look at your petroglyph people and spirits and the whales you do, it's just, I get a really good feeling looking at your work. First of all, it's so colorful, and I wouldn't mind having any of your art on my walls.
Well, when I started, painting, one thing I did put in my head when I started, I wanted to have my put some energy into what I was doing, and so it would, we'd give off energy and have life, give it life, and that was something I tried to do when I first started, and so yeah, it has a sense of energy to it. It's colors. I really enjoy colors and all of that. So so people that buy my art, they put it on their wall, but they have to be touched by it. It has to say something to them. So when they come in my gallery, I don't really say much. I'll answer questions, but they're the ones that have to the art, and they meet each other there. They find it's like an adoption. You sort of see each other, and because you got to live with each other from then on. So it's important. Art is important, and if you're going to be living with it, you've got to connect with it. So that's what I try to do with my art.
Yeah.
One thing I would also say, another word that comes to mind when describing your work, Alan, is you are so prolific. I mean, you just crank them out.
I don't really consider it work. I mean, to me, it's such a joy to do. I don't say that it's not like a drudgery or anything like that. It's more like I have an idea. Mm-hmm. And before that idea, disappears, I have to do something about it. So that's why, it's just, I learned to work at, more speed, and so the ideas don't fade. And so I have more ideas, and I work even all the faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you say that you're more intuitive with your art, like that it's intuitive art? It comes to you through, an inspiration. It just feels like this joy that you have is like inspired through, being able to be happy yourself and grounded in your culture and your community, and all those things bring that inspiration out.
Well, the culture, I think about it all the time, and I try to look at all angles of whatever idea that I'm working with. So, like I'm doing ancient petroglyphs, and I try to think about the person that put it there, and what kind of life that person was living, or what he meant or she meant when they put it there. What's it mean? And see, you know, we lost a lot of numbers through contact. You know, we lost almost 90% at one time of our population. So, you know, with all that population, of course, information is lost as well. So now we're regaining it and try to put it back, and you know, it won't be the same, but then, you know, I think we gain a lot by looking back and finding our own, you know, our own. It's the word I want to put in there. Identity, you know, is the word, and we know who we are, and then we can move on.
Mm-hmm. That's really beautiful. We played a song, started out the show with one of your songs, and we have a couple more that you sent us. We want to also share with our listeners today. You will be, you know, playing music coming up. I saw that you were had some things scheduled. Could you tell our listeners where you're going to be playing music? And again, people can go to, is it your YouTube page to
we have
see some of the
Thundermakers on Facebook.
Thundermakers on Facebook. Okay, great.
And also on my website on our Thundermaker, our Facebook, my Facebook as well.
Okay, great. That will be good to for people to go. I wanted to just give the website. Your website is Alan, SYLIBOY.com, and people can go there and preview some of the videos and find out more information about you. Find you on Facebook and find Thundermakers also on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's really been such an honor to hear about your process today, and we look forward to sharing more of your artwork through social media and try to keep in touch. In closing, Rick, do you have some final thoughts?
I just want to thank you, Alan, for being on our show today. It's been a real delight having you here and actually be able to hear your voice. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's great for me, but you know, when I was young and I was learning, and I spent a lot of time in New England. You know, Salem, New Hampshire is where I stayed for a couple of months. You know, in my practice. You know, and I had my aunts and uncles were in Boston, so I used to go there. You know, and then in Maine as well. We went all over. So you know, it's just like it takes me back. Makes me feel good. I can't believe, like, after all this time, here we are talking on the radio, and you know, we're talking about career, and you're right in the middle of where it all started for me. So I do appreciate the interest in the call, and please, you know, give me a call some other time, and
sure,
absolutely,
we'll do it again.
Excellent.
Absolutely. We'd love to follow you, and we'll keep sharing your artwork. You know, through social media. I think it's kind of fun that we can, through this internet and through the Zoom, have a little visit here. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. And
you have a wonderful day.
And you too. All right.
Thank you, Alan.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.